Learning how to sing can be quite overwhelming because there is so much material out there, like right here on YouTube or on Google and literally everywhere else, right? There's so much content about singing, and everyone's like, do this. And then the next person says, no, don't do that, do this instead. And oh my gosh, it can be quite confusing, right? So I am here to basically give you the most basic things right now that are true for any kind of singer. No matter what genre you sing, what styles you like, it really doesn't matter, or where you even are in your journey. Those are the most important things every singer has to remember to, eventually get to the point where they want to be, right? The kind of singer they want to be, okay? All right, let's dive right in. Now, something that I personally think is the most important thing is you have to know where you're at, what you can already do, and what you can't do just yet, right? So, I highly recommend, even if it is just one single lesson, try and get one lesson with a good voice teacher out there because they can help you figure out what you have to pay attention to, what you should work on, and what you should be careful about so you're not developing any bad habits. Maybe you have already developed bad habits and they can help you get rid of that, even if it's just one lesson. Now, yes, you can do it by yourself, but it is so much more helpful with an actual voice teacher, and they can point out exactly what you need work on and what you have to be careful about. Okay, so it is up to you. I understand taking voice lessons isn't cheap, but try to get just one single lesson in there and sing for somebody else who has a very trained ear and see what they think. If you want me to take a listen to you sing, I would love nothing more than that. I'll put the link in the description below where you can book a lesson with me, and I'll happily listen to your voice and help you get started on the right foot as well. The reason why this is so important is because every single person is different and unique. Every instrument is unique, right? So it doesn't necessarily do you any good if you keep working on something that you can already do, but every voice teacher here on YouTube has told you that that's what you should be doing. But because everyone is different, that might not work for you, right? So that is why I think it is important that you take a lesson with a voice teacher out there, even if it's just one single lesson. All right, now let's get to the things every singer should be doing. First thing you gotta do is warm up your voice. You are an athlete, right? Just like a marathon runner, just different, right? You're not running marathons, but you're basically running marathons in your throat, right? Singing is not necessarily easy, and it can be quite difficult sometimes and quite demanding, right? So we have to train those muscles in there. But before we train them, we want to stretch them out and warm them up. That is so incredibly important. So make sure you take 5 to 10 minutes every single day to warm up your voice before you start belting out big notes or whatever it is you're doing, okay? And if you want to check out my favorite warm-up exercises, I'll put them in the description below. I already made a video about that, so make sure you check that out as well and do those warm-ups every single day. That is so, so, so important because it'll help you release that tension, okay? And that's already step number 2. You have to release tension. So in singing, it basically comes down to 2 things. You have to muscle isolate, which is releasing tension, and you have to have good breath and breath support. Okay, so let's talk about releasing that tension, right? If you have a whole bunch of tension in your throat, eventually you're gonna develop some vocal injuries, right? That might be swelling, that might be vocal nodules, which are super duper duper bad, right? So we have to take care of our instrument, and releasing tension is the first thing that you have to do to not get vocal injuries, right? So definitely don't ever push when you sing. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it, right? So that might be belting, that might be singing a really high note, that might even be singing a low note. Whatever it is, singing should always feel good. If it doesn't feel good, you're doing something wrong. Okay? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean, like, if it doesn't feel good, don't ever do it. No, that means figure out why it doesn't feel good and then change that so eventually it does feel good, right? I hope that makes sense. You don't just want to quit and never try again, but you also don't want to keep doing the same thing because eventually that's going to hurt your voice, right? So stop and analyze. Why does it not feel good? Now, the easiest thing you can do to release tension is either sing while laying down or do the tunnel exercise, which is basically you want to open up your throat and create a tunnel right here in your vocal tract, right? Like all the way from your core up your throat, out of your mouth. Open up that throat so you are releasing the neck, like the tension that you might be feeling in your neck and in your jaw and your tongue as well. Okay, if you want to check out the tunnel exercise, I'll put it in the description down below as well. This is really going to help you open up your throat and release tension. So that's really important. And remember, if it doesn't feel good, it's not going to sound as good as it could. Okay, and don't do it if it doesn't feel good. Very important, okay? And then I said that other important thing is breath support, right? Without air, we can't make any sound, right? Like our voice is a wind instrument. It's like a trumpet. If you don't blow into a trumpet, then there's no sound coming out. It's exactly the same with the voice for speaking and singing. If we don't use any air, then there's no sound coming out. That is why breathing and breath support is also incredibly important. To make sure you are actually using your core for breath support, what you can do is just kind of like push in here with your hands a little bit. And if you are not engaging your breath support, then that will not feel good at all. But if you are engaging your breath support, then it's fine, right? So, hey, 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 right? Like I'm really engaging right here and I'm pushing against my abs, which is my core, or part of my core at least, to really engage it, right? And if you kind of like do some panting, for example, and really push that air out, you will feel that here. If you put your hand on your abs, you will feel that right there, your core engage and really push that air out, right? So that is your breath support. You have to use breath support when you sing. I just hosted a singing challenge for everyone who wanted to get their singing career started, the singing journey started. And most of the students in there, like 95% of them, they were confused about breath support and didn't use breath support pretty much at all, right? And then when I told them, do this, push against here, all of their sudden their voices opened up like crazy. So this is very, very, very important. Feel what's happening here. If you're not sure, push in and then your abs will start to engage and push against your hands basically. Okay, so breath support is super important as well. And then lastly, we have exercises. You have to put in the time to get better. It's like a bodybuilder, right? If a bodybuilder stops going to the gym, eventually all of his muscles will be gone, right? And they will decrease at least. It's the same with singing. You have to keep training your muscles. So it's not as important like what exercises you're doing, but that you are doing them on a daily basis. That is so, so, so important. Now, you don't necessarily have to do exercises as long as you are using your voice on a daily basis and you are actively working on it. That might just be in a song, but I definitely recommend doing exercises because there's a reason why they exist. There's a reason why they are the way they are because they isolate all the different things that have to work together then eventually to make it work, right? And I kind of think of exercises as formulas, right? So if you know the formula, you can then apply it in every single song. It's kind of like math. I know, boo, I hate math. Me too, okay? I was really bad at math in school, but think of your exercises as formulas. If you can do it in the exercise, then you can apply it in every single song. But if you can do it in a song, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can then do it in every other song as well. Okay, so make sure you're doing your exercises and you're putting in the time and the effort to train your voice. And don't ever stop, because if you stop, your progress will go backwards and your muscles in your throat will decrease. And we don't want that to happen, right? We only want to go up, not down or backwards. All right, that is it. So make sure you're always warming up, you're releasing tension, you're using breath support, and you are putting in the time and effort. Those are the most important things to start your singing journey and to stay on the right track once you started. Again, if you have the resources to take a private lesson with a good teacher, I highly recommend you do, because it can save you so much time, even if it's just one single lesson. Okay? All right, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button for more videos like this, and I will see you for the next video.